Hey everybody, it's Chance here with yet another game. Um, this game is, this time it's protoViolence, a sci-fi horror visual novel that takes place before Malviolence, but was released after. It released about, per the itch.io page, 32 days ago as of recording. Today it's November 2nd for me, though this will probably be recorded a little later on, posted later on in November. Um, so this was, as you could tell from the intro, done for the Spooktober um, game jam on itch.io. This is another excuse me, a relatively short visual novel by Mato, or rather by the Malviolence team. Um, Mato just being the director, um, not just the director, but being the primary director. Um, if you're interested in the game, definitely go to matocali.itch.io/protovalence. The content warnings are also listed there. I'll put that into the description for those who want to check it out. This one is a horror game. Um, and the major things to know, let me actually just look at the official list of warnings. Um, I do recommend taking a look, but there will be medical abuse, child abuse. It is a prequel to Malviolence, and so I imagine it's going to be more explicit about some of the things that were just casually mentioned in that game. Not really casually, but were mentioned in the notes for that game. So let's just get right into it. Over 2 decades ago, Dr. Iris Kai wrote me a recommendation for an up-and-coming international security agency. Back then, I was overjoyed. I had chalked it up to the usual trajectory of high-flying scientific careers. Getting into a growing field early, do good science while the fires of invention are still hot, then dip out with distinction before the coals grow cold. But maybe I was just projecting. The first time my name showed up in a cybernetics textbook, I called my parents and invited my friends to dinner at my favorite restaurant. Compare that to half a year ago when I got a write-up in the East Coast Medicine Review. I didn't even open the copy they sent me. I thought Iris's ennui was a little bit more advanced than my own. It was a nice party. She was surrounded by friends and coworkers, lauded by her peers and praised by her subordinates. And the whole time she looked hollow. Fear of retirement, I theorized. I couldn't be further from the truth. Stop, the organization I've dedicated my life to, has always been at the forefront of cybernetics. The bleeding edge, as some would say. Yet they're pushing all the wrong boundaries. Taking science, my science, in a cruel new direction that I cannot abide. My research is being used to experiment on children. But I'm not powerless, and the architects behind these new programs aren't fools. If I can present a proper case against this, show them the pain hidden between the numbers and the suffering they're whitewashing over the pursuit of percentage points, I have hope that things can still be made right. But that hope is dwindling. I thought I granted peace to the world with my research. Maybe all I did was wreath a new Nero. Sorry for messaging you at this hour. Couldn't sleep. Having second thoughts? No. My transfer's already been approved. Next Monday, I'm entering the Youth Training and Development Initiative as a supervisor, but, Iris, you've worked with STOP longer than I have. Can you tell me anything else about the YTDI? Nothing that'll help you sleep. Well, that's reassuring. But I still can't believe that this is happening. STOP's full of scientists, not. I never oversaw any of the projects directly. But that time the YTDI was founded, I was already on the way out. From my understanding, the program was based on your research. Specifically, the younger the patient, the better cybernetic sync rate. That report was intended for STOP agents. Not anyone under 18. Cybernetic enhancement is major surgery. Even if we were giving someone a new eye or ear, there's all the anesthesia involved, intense PT regimens. Some volunteers needed immunosuppressants to sync with their enhancement. Can you imagine how painful that would be for a child? Well, the higher ups clearly felt differently. To them, the Youth Training and Development Initiative is for the greater good, educating and rehabilitating underprivileged children. How does grafting dangerous technology into a child have any positive outcome? What's the point? Where's the greater good in that? When STOP was founded, that good was clear. Back when the world was in turmoil and the cybernetics were getting slapped on terrorists and rebels in vet clinics and garages, STOP put an end to that. We put an end to that. Then we kept going so it wouldn't happen again. And because we kept going, the world's now the safest it's been in decades. From the presidents of the countries to STOP's very own higher-ups, the people in power are pleased with the new state of things. And they'll do anything they can to keep it that way. Like I said, not the best conversation topic if you're looking to put your mind at ease. But do try to get some rest, Deirdre. From the sound of it, you have a long weekend ahead of you. I'll do my best. May 13th, 2070X. Think I still got smartphones. And smartphones that have same messaging apps. I know it's for like ease of design, but I do like to think like we went crazy with cybernetics, but everyone still has normal ass smartphones. My first impression is that this place is beautiful. Natural light trickles in through frosted glass, enveloping the courtyard below in warm, if not softened, glow. From the bridge I'm on, I can even see green. Grass, flowers, trees, an oasis of natural blue beauty, full of life, and full of laughing children. I can't help but wonder if I made a wrong turn. There is no stark surgical scrubs, no hospital gowns, and the air smells clean, not disinfected. But my eyes are inevitably drawn toward the towering column that pierces the building's center. It's a dark monument, with few doors, no windows, and a very heavy shadow. My skin prickles. What purpose could? Not lost already, are you? My train of thought, its grim path cut short by a familiar husky voice.
Angie, it's wonderful to see you again.
Same to you, Deirdre. As usual, her choice of words is formal, but I recognize the warmth hidden beneath them. It's been a long time since we've talked face to face. For sure, I didn't think we'd get to work together again, but not every career path's a straight line, right? No, definitely not. Happy as I am to be working with you, I'm surprised, Ellen, that you wanted to transfer here. To me, you were always married to the craft of cybernetics and nothing else. I guess that's one way of putting it. I suppose there's more to me than meets the eye. I suppose there is. So I understand you're planning to write a case study on the work we're doing here at the YTDI. You are always more interested in theory than application. But then again, you were always a pioneer as well. I mean, it's a new program based on my research. Why wouldn't I want to observe it? Oh, I think it's fantastic having you of all people here. In fact, no, I don't want to get too deep into discussion on your first day. Your time's valuable, so how about I give you a tour? Oh, well, I did request one, but you don't have to. No, trust me. There's a lot here, more than we can cover in one day, but we should be able to go over the basics. And who better to help you find your footing than an old colleague? All right. Where to first? Awesome. I'm not a professional tour guide, but I'll say the courtyard would be the best place to start. Lead the way. I'm sure Angela has a voice actor, so then I'll be able to more pinpoint the voice. It's supposedly husky, but that doesn't really give me much detail. I'm also not a voice actor, so that's why there's so much greenery. Of course, we want our trainees to be as healthy as possible, both physically and mentally. And while it may be hard to see on an MRI, being around trees and plants really does do wonders for the brain. No, Angie, I believe you. Actually, I think I feel it myself. We installed it for the trainees' sake, but if it helps the staff stay sane as well, that's a nice bonus. That reminds me, you should see the classrooms too. So we'll take these stairs and go through these doors. Oh, after you, of course. And if we just go down this hallway. Sorry. It's late for me. We're here. Bit of a walk, isn't it? Must be easy to get lost. I suppose. But you get used to it. Anyway, this is where the trainees get educated. Oh, and what does that entail? We've got all the core essentials. Maths, literary, self-defense, and phys ed. Pardon. Physical education. No, I mean self-defense? Oh, don't make that face. It's not that serious. Gym mats and padded gloves and whatnot. At their age, the trainees couldn't even hurt each other if they tried. And do they ever try to hurt each other? The world's a dangerous place. Our trainees know that better than anyone. The earlier we teach them how to protect themselves, the better off they'll be. I... I suppose you're right. But it's not all schoolwork and drills. They get to do fun stuff too. I mean, we passed an arts and crafts center just a moment ago. You should see some of the stuff they make in there. We might even get the next Mark Rothko or Agnes Martins on our hands. I nod as if I know who those people are. Fine art never was a favorite subject of mine. Well, I'll have to check that out another time. Yeah, you ought to. Maybe I'm going about this the wrong way. You're here to do a detailed case study on a single trainee, correct? Yes, that's right. Why do you ask? Well, we got a class going on right now. It should be literacy at this time of day. You're suggesting I choose my case study subject right now? I could give you a much better idea of what we do, seeing how the trainees actually go about their day. Come on, look over here. Don't worry, they won't notice us. They're all preoccupied with writing exercises, it looks like. I like the way the scenes are kind of directed. It adds a really, because technically, yes, I'm just reading. I don't think this game has any puzzles. I think it's just a straight up visual novel. But I do like the way it is directed. It's always fun to see what's kind of trying to be done in different visual novels to kind of create more realism or kind of a sense of you being there. Is this a classroom? I've seen medical libraries with more noise. They're very well behaved. You can thank the people who designed the core curriculum for that. Our trainees are showing a 34% increase in memory retention compared to the same age control group, short and long term. That's very impressive, isn't it? The bell could ring right now and they'd still be glued to their work. If this were any other education program, they'd all be fiddling with their fine liners, glaring at the clock, doodling in the margins. Like that child over there? Right, that one. He's a bit of an outlier, statistically. Really? But I thought your curriculum was... Well, it's not 100% effective. Sometimes you get stragglers. But we don't leave them behind. All they need is a little extra motivation. There, the teacher's already taken notice. He's taking them to the front of the classroom? Is he being yelled at? Yelled at? The teacher might be raising their voice. Hold on, why are the other children lining up with him? They didn't do anything wrong. Well, that's the extra motivation I was talking about. All new trainees get sorted into squadrons. Squadrons? Like soldiers? Like birds, I'd say. They're close-knit. We expect each squadron to fly at roughly the same pace, so if one member underperforms, the entire group is made aware of it. I know it looks a little inflexible, but they're better off learning these rules early. I'm not sure that... Hmm? He smiled at me. Oh, they're supposed to stand perfectly still for 5 minutes, so that's... Might have to refocus. I've made my decision. Oh, good! So which trainee? I want that boy to be my subject. May I ask why? I can't give a concrete answer. I suppose I'm going with my gut. That's not very scientific. Then why don't we call it an intuitive choice made by one of the world's leading cybernetics researchers? As I said, that particular trainee is somewhat of a statistical outlier. Then taking a closer look at him should correct any inefficiencies in the program, no? I suppose I can't argue with that. I mean, the panopticon was already referenced in Malviolence. I imagine that's the same thing happening here. um, as I believe Foucault said, everything, school's a prison, light work is a prison, everything's a prison. I mean, again, I'm being reductive. I have not actually read any Foucault, so I can't actually say what he said particularly, but there is something to be said about how prison-like this all is. Truly. Ah ha ha teehee. All right, D. Here is where his quarters are. You're certain this is the one you want to use for your case study? Again, I've made my decision, Angie. Right, right. Just wanted to confirm. Trainee CO 458? I repeat, trainee CO 54458. You've got a visitor. Come over here and greet her.
Huh? A visitor?
Make it quick, please. She's a very busy lady and has a lot to get done with today. Oh. Wait a minute. You're the lady I saw in class. Yes, yes, very good. What is S4174 doing behind you? She really wanted to come, so I let her. This really doesn't concern her. S4174, you can... It's not a big deal, is it? What is the harm in getting introduced to his roommate? Right. CO458, this is your cue to introduce yourself.
Well, allow me.
In a normal, timely manner.
Nice to meet ya. I'm Pavel. Though most of the people here only call me CO458.
A number. Standard procedure. We try to keep things double-blind around here as much as possible. Plus, the first class had about 3 Emmas and 4 Quins, so... right. What about you, lady? What's your name? Deirdre. Deirdre Destrange. You can call me Dr. Deirdre if you want. Dr. Deirdre? Dr. Deirdre. Dr. Deirdre! That's a nice name. Has anyone else told you that? Not, recently. Oh! Do you want to introduce yourself too? Well, the floor is all yours. Hello. I'm, Shiria. You got this, Shri. Look, Dr. Shiria's waving to you. Shriya is my roommate. Normally we stick together. If I'm around, chances are she is too. I see. You two must be very close. Oh, we're besties. We never go anywhere without each other. Except for class. I wish we were into different squads. Hey, D? Not looking to interrupt here, but we don't have all the time in the world. I still need to show you around the research labs. Okay, just let me wrap up here. It's nice to meet you, CO458. Starting next week, I'll be interviewing you. Interviewing me? About what? About your hobbies, your classmates, your future, a lot of things like that. I want to know how you and your fellow trainees are doing in this program. Oh, I can do that. But I'm confused. Why me? Because I picked you specifically. And why did you pick me specifically? You stood out in class. I saw you and I thought you'd be interesting to talk to. Makes sense. My teacher says I'm like a dandelion in a field full of roses. That's one way of putting it. But wait, what about your friend? Just because I'm interviewing you doesn't mean you can't stick together.
Sound reasonable?
Yeah. It's a deal.
Sorry if I rushed you a bit back there. And if I came off as grouchy earlier. It's just, I've been working in a lot of hours lately. It's tough out here. Angie, it's fine. Not like I was much better in the past. Oh god, don't remind me. When you were taking on the lead to artificial organ development, it was like you were in a trance. Like if it gave you a little one little tap on your shoulder, you'd snap up like a cobra on a rake. Yes, I remember how you put it. Those were dark times. By the time we pushed through development on the spleen, I never wanted to see another culture sample as long as I lived. Here, here. So Angie, about those research labs. Right, right. From here, the fastest route would be... Case Study Report 513-2070X. Initial Supervisory Report. Though it had been advertised as a youth education program, it is my understanding that the purpose of the Youth Training and Development Initiative, YTDI, is to prepare for its trainees for cybernetic enhancement and eventual employment within STOP. While it has been known that biotoxicization rates are inversely correlated to age, the side effects on individuals below the age 18 are not fully understood at this time and may be more severe than they would be on an adult mind and body. Furthermore, I have concerns about the purpose of the program and how its participants are selected. As supervisor, it is my intent to observe the YTDI's operations and ensure that the health and well-being of its trainees are being properly upheld. As part of my duties, I intend on engaging in a focused case study on trainee CO458 to observe his development under the YTDI's curriculum. For compliance purposes, our one-on-one conversations will be recorded. Dr. Deirdre Destrange. June 13th, 2076. Roachman. Oh, I can interact with stuff. Cool. Let me make a save. Let me in. Well, let's read Roachman. Got some fruit stickers. These are the things they will not let me check out. Let's check out the computer. Interview with CO458. June 12th, 2070X.
All right, CO458. I've started recording. Before you fall over from all that wiggling.
Yay!
I'm just super excited. I'm glad to hear that. But you can relax. We're just talking today. Really? My cheeks are going numb from all the grinning. I can imagine. I did the same thing in my school photos. You did? But I stopped because, well, it made me look like a dork. Harsh but true. How'd you? You still kind of do. Thanks, bro. Right. Have you ever been called something like that before? A dork? No, never. Well, maybe a few times. But the other kids don't know anything, so their loss. What don't they know? When I grow up, I'm gonna be a super famous and super pretty, and I'm gonna have a billion friends. I can see it now. But we're starting to veer off the topic. I only have so much time with you. So let's get right to business. Okay, what do you want to know? For today, I'd like to ask you 3 questions. Pop quiz, huh? Okay, I'm ready to go. Good. First, how did you come to be here? What do you mean? I mean, before you lived here and you were part of the YTDI, where did you live? Well, great start, really. Before I got here, I lived in an orphanage. Oh, and what was like that? And what was that like? I don't remember much, but it was pretty lonely. There weren't many others there? No, there was a whole bunch of us. And we shared rooms and beds and the adults' attention. You weren't treated as an individual. Yeah, I wasn't treated as an individual. A lot of us ran around and it was pretty noisy, but I was always bored. And then when it wasn't mealtime, school time, or chore time, I was stuck in the common room with most of the others. And because we all had to share so much, we fought all the time. Oh? Yeah. Like one time I wanted to play the Scrattle board, but another girl said I couldn't have it because all I did was trace the board's grid with my fingers. So I said to her, "Nuh-uh, that's how you play Scrattle." And then she was like, "You're always doing stuff wrong." And then I made a face at her, and then she pulled my hair, and then you both got into trouble, right? Yeah, I scratched her and she started crying, so I got punished. I found the rulebook later. She was right. I was playing the game wrong. I said sorry, but the way I played was fun too. Interesting. You seem different than most of the others here. How were you picked for this program? I don't know. One day, these people in white clothes came to the orphanage. They didn't want to play or talk or anything. They just watched us for a week or so. Then this loud person told me and a bunch of other kids that we had a bright future ahead of us. And then they brought us here. You must have come a long way. I don't think so. I fell asleep on the bus because I couldn't sleep the night before. But when I got here, it wasn't even lunchtime. I see. Next question. Are you getting along with your squadron? We're all supposed to get along with our squadron. I know. But it's okay, you can be honest. Okay. Most of my squad mates are boring apple polishers. They hate me because the teachers get mad at me and make us stay in class for an extra 10 minutes. It's not my fault class is dull. It's not like my doodles are bothering anyone. Did you know any of your squad mates back at the orphanage? No. For some reason, I was put in a different squad from everyone else I knew. Squad sorting must be done randomly, trying to avoid pre-established social grouping. Sorry, I just had to jot something down. What about your roommate? What do you think of her? Roommate? You mean Shri? Well, she's quiet most of the time, but once you get to know her, she's really smart and kind. And most importantly, she's my best friend. I remember. You told me that when you introduced me to her. Yep. She's also my first friend. And I guess my only one. When school is done, we talk about stuff and do things together. Oh, and she teaches me things? Like, a few weeks ago, she taught me how to do my hair. Oh, that is tied up with a scrunchie. So that's why you have a hairband there. I wear it all the time now. Anything else you do together? Filling in coloring books, playing Mary Mac or A Soldier Went to Sea, or A Sailor Went to Sea. Oh, and we read. Though Shira's way better than at me. Though Shriya's are way better at it than me. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. I don't know how to talk. Like, way better. I heard the teacher say she was a whole 2 readings ahead of the rest of her squad. Wow, that's impressive. I know, right? She's so cool. And that brings me to my third and final question. When Shreya's not around, what do you like doing in your spare time? Sewing and knitting. When it's break time, I go to the arts and crafts room and make stuff. So far, I've made a placemat and a headband and a scarf. I could show you them sometime if you want. I'd love to see what you made. Yay! As for the other stuff, the teachers say it's not proper literature, but I like reading comic books, like Roachman. There's a lot less words than Shreya's books, but they're filled with cool pictures. I wish my art was that cool. I'm sure you'll get there with practice. I'm one step ahead of you. That's why I doodle in class. So I can get good, fast. Anything else you enjoy doing? Well, there's lots of stuff I want to try, but class and homework are always in the way. Tell me about it, man. Ugh. I'm sorry. I hope you can get more free time in the future. Yeah, me too. Alright then. I think that's a good place for us to stop today. Huh? You're leaving already? I wish I could stay longer, but I'm afraid I need to catch up on work. Oh, I get it. You seem like a very busy lady, Dr. Deirdre. More so than usual. But I should have time to dig out my Scrattle board. You have a Scrattle board? I do, right in my basement. Or was it in storage? Either way, I'll find it, and then we can play. Whichever you want, of course. Really? Don't underestimate me, though. I'm a Scrattle champion. Or I was. It's been a while since I've been last played. Whoa, a Scrattle champion. I have to go now, so here's a little thank you for all your help. And that's why he likes the grape stickers. What's this? It's a special sticker. If you scratch it, it smells like grapes. Indeed it does. Thank you, Dr. Deirdre. And thank you for talking to me.
I'll see you next week, yes?
Keep bringing in awesome stuff like this, and I'll talk to you every day.
Well, caution, I have some great news and also some tragic news. Case Study Report 6/12/2070X. This report marks 1 month point of trainee CO 458's case study. And this time I've observed several... In this time, I have observed several facets of the YTDI's of operations. I now believe I have a firm grasp of the day-to-day activities of the trainees. The majority of children selected for the YTDI come from orphanages. Upon arrival at the YTDI, trainees are separated into squads similar to ones utilized by STOP field agents. Formal education takes place entirely within these squads and involves tuition in literature, mathematics, self-defense, etc. Outside of the classroom, trainees have access to several extracurricular activities, including craft work, sports, and video games. While these activities are beneficial for fostering bonds and growth between the children, I find it notable that several of the activities available to overlap with the ones frequently undertaken by SOP operatives in the recovery period after the implementation of new cybernetics, e.g., sewing for IR. I am not reading my best today. Let me start this over. While these activities are beneficial for fostering bonds and growth between children, I find it notable that several of the activities available overlap with the ones frequently undertaken by STOP operatives in the recovery period after implantation of new cybernetics, e.g., sewing for hand-eye coordination, video games for reaction speed, etc. The standard of care believes to be at least sufficient. CO458 has expressed that it is a significant improvement from his previous logics. Still, I have some questions to raise with Dr. Tan later. Dr. Deirdre Destrange. Okay, I looked at that. What's this? June X 2070X. Some part of me wants my thoughts to blow with the wind. Putting them on paper certainly meets that mark. Besides, all the blue light was making my eyes ache. But there's more pressing issues to worry about tonight. The children are all orphans. I'm not surprised, but setting aside the militaristic dressing, the YTDI isn't much different from a standard boarding school. Compared to how STOP's first few branches of field agents were housed, the accommodations here are downright luxurious. Still, that's comparing volunteer soldiers to abandoned children, an analogy no one should make. And the children's meals consist of lab script. Why? If I'm running late, I settle on an apple and a protein bar. If I'm feeling unhealthy, maybe a toaster strudel. Obviously, people enjoy the flavor of their food. There's no need for them to eat tasteless pellets. They're humans, not lab rats. Surely nutritious filling meals aren't out of budget? After all, the education is world class. I suspect Stop's spending a lot of money there. On top of that, the YTDI is immaculate. The building's practically sparkling. If my shoes track dirt as I walk in, it's wiped every way every time I walk out. It's ironic how much such a clean place can make me feel so dirty. Speaking of treating humans like lab rats, that boy, CO458, for formal reasons I can't mention it in recording sessions, but I know his name is Pavel. Was taking his name necessary? Are they that concerned about observer bias? It might be the only thing his parents ever gave him. Why scrub it away like a stain to be removed? That boy is lonely too. Yes, he has Shreya, but she isn't a part of his squadron, his pre-assigned social group. His squadrons frequently exclude him outside of class. They don't let him play with them, so he's often in the arts and crafts center sewing or knitting by himself. I think he'd be less lonely if the teachers didn't pit the kids up against one another. At least Pavel's allowed to have hobbies. I know he likes superheroes, so I'll bring him some comments from the YTDI's library. I suspect the books there are vetted, but if I'm lucky, I might find something that'll make him smile. Maybe I could even use it to teach him something new. It doesn't seem like any of the YTDI's teachers care enough about personalizing this learning experience. Oh, I also bought a pack of stickers for him. Do boys his age think grape stickers are cool? Now that I've written this, I realize I might come across as embarrassing. Maybe grape is lame. Maybe orange is the way to go. Deirdre, I think your priorities are a bit skewed. God, I don't know anymore. Guess there's only one way to find out. D. That's why she becomes a supervillain. That's very cute. Anything over here? What's this? It's my phone. The craft center was nice. That's gotta be a good sign, right? Good sign and a good thing are different matters. I know. It's just all window dressing if the end they're working toward is... Well, as I said, at least the craft center was nice. I'm reviewing your file and I'm a lot more concerned about the militaristic conditions you've reported. Plus, every time you critique some part of the WTDI, Dr. Tan seems to resist. Angie's always been pretty rigid. She's not a bad person. Just very by the books. Dr. Tan is a salaried administrator. She's been around for so long that she writes the book. No one is forcing her to stay where she is. I could have easily been in her shoes, Iris. Not with her scruples. From my impression, Tan's philosophies on cybernetics have this whole saviors complex to them. What? She just wants to help people. I'm sure she believes that, but in your logs, she seems obsessed with Shira's right hand, constantly talking about improving it. Cybernetics are meant to be a voluntary choice, not some mandatory fix. She's still doing good for the kids. She's my friend. Deirdre, you're one of the brightest people I know, maybe the best of your generation. But think about the lab strips, the classrooms, the panopticon in the dorms. If this is what Stop has become, you don't owe them anything anymore. Its foundations are rotten. We can heal that rot. If you say so. I just want to have faith in people. I want to have faith in Stop and its scientists and the colleagues and friends I've worked with for years. Even a genius like you can't change the sign. Even a genius like you can't change the sign of someone. Even a genius like you can't change the mind of someone who's not listening. That's why the case study needs to go on. I will make them listen. Right? Anything else you wanted to discuss? I brought Pavel a grape-scented sticker the other day. He loved it. I take back what I said. It sounds all rosy over there. You can't heal the rot. You have to replace the foundation. If it's spread too far, you have to replace it. August 13th, 2070X. Like, once it's gotten to rotting, you have to replace it, you know? There's really nothing else to it. Alright, let's just start with the convo. Interview with CO 458. August 13th, 2070X.
Oh, the video camera wasn't on.
Oopsie. Guess the world will never know the results of our grand Scrattle match, huh?
It's a shame. Your skills would have improved tremendously. But I lost again. Well, I was a Scrattle champion. You just learned the rules a couple weeks ago. I mean it. You are very good. I bet you could go toe-to-toe with Shira now. Oh? Have you foolish adults finally reevaluated my reading ability? Oh, wait. I don't think Shreya knows how to play Scrattle. You could teach her? I think she'd also make a wonderful player. Maybe. I don't know if I'll have time, you know? What do you mean? Did something happen? Can I tell you a secret? By all means. So my teacher asked me to stay behind in class. Thought he had spotted me drawing again, but he told me I didn't have to study anymore because one of the researchers had talked to him. That's strange. What did they tell him? Well, they said, I'm gonna go through my first processing. Processing? What is that? I don't know. None of us know. I mean, I know that everyone gets processed eventually, and that the preceded process trainees graduate, and that when you graduate you leave the initiative. That's rather vague. That's what I said. They must be hiding something. I don't know what's gonna happen to me. When I think about it at night, I can't sleep. It makes my skin all prickly. But do you want to know what's really strange? None of my squad mates are getting processed with me. Is that unusual? Yeah. We always see other trainees leave for processing in groups of 2 or 3 or 4. Never one. CO 458. I'm not stupid. I know why I was picked. It's 'cause I doodle in class. It's 'cause I forget my homework. 'Cause when it's time for group projects, none of my squad mates want to work with me. 'Cause whenever I try to talk to someone, they always act so tired. My squad, the other trainees, even my teachers, I know they want me processed. I sense it, even when they don't speak to me. Because they all hate me. Shreya doesn't hate you. She's in a different squad. She doesn't have to be around me when we do class. If she was always getting punished because of me, well, I like you too. How about that? You're saying that because of your case study thing? No, I mean it. You're a talented artist, your incitement is infectious, and you're much smarter than people give you credit for. I think you're lovely just the way you are. Can I ask you something? Of course. Could you visit me as soon as my first processing is over? Of course I will. My case study requires it. pinky you swear? On my life. And if you break your promise, you can break my finger. Huh? Really? No, I'm kidding. But I will come back for you, no matter what.
I promise.
Well, that gives me high hopes. Truly, it really does. Case Study Report 842870X. Regular conversations with CO458 have continued. Contrary to what I have witnessed while observing his classroom, CO458 has been inquisitive and willing to cooperate with my study on our one-to-one interactions. This contrast has led me to form a hypothesis as to why this might be the case. It is my belief that CO458 is not unintelligent, but that the teaching methods used by YTDI are insufficient to engage him. That what his instructors have described as acting out appears to be just expressions of boredom. Considering what a number of children the YTDI has under its roof, I do not believe that CO458 is the only trainee having difficulty with his assignments. I have noted that his squad's instructors rarely encourage creative solutions to exercise and instead prefer completion of tasks to a set rubric. Standards-based teaching methods often produce results that look good on a spreadsheet, but they rarely result in significant information retention or well-developed critical thinking skills. On top of this, children with learning disorders are often left behind. What worries me is that CO458's antics often result in his entire class being punished for his actions. The intent behind this measure is to emphasize that the squad is a unit. A failure on one member's part reflects on all of them. Perhaps this is successful in other squads, but in CO458's case, they all seem to have managed to do is other than him. All this has seemed to do is other him from his peers. Dr. Deirdre Destrange. August 12, 2070X. I wasn't prepared for the number of children who were happy to be at YTDI. The number of kids who were overjoyed just because they had clean clothes and seats. Money doesn't necessarily buy quality education, but STOP isn't really cheaping out on their schooling. They're practically throwing money at this program, even if the staff sometimes treats the children poorly. As I've mentioned, the education itself is good. The students are given a rigorous curriculum of maths, literacy, physical education, and self-defense. But the instruction is cold, for lack of a better word. The burden of responsibility is placed on the students. There's no personalization, no room for makeup or extra credit, and anyone who underperforms gets treated like a pariah. Children aren't dumb. Treat them like this, or they'll come to understand that the performance is their singular measure of their value. If they're lagging behind, it's entirely on them to get up back to speed. There are plenty of college students who find that level of responsibility overwhelming, but these kids are elementary schoolers. They need coaching to get things through to them. Frankly, I'm surprised there aren't more scragglers. You learn to pretend. I acknowledge that the YTDI is a new program and STOP isn't an educational organization. Some growing pains are to be expected. Angie's been listening to my criticisms. She's not stonewalling me, even if she insists that the children are much better off than they used to be. I mean, that might be true, but it doesn't change the fact that you could be better. When I bring things up, she always fires off statistics, stuff like, half of the trainees were illiterate before they came here. Now 98% are performing above metrics. And when I ask whether my own suggestions for the YTDI have been considered, she claims they're in the queue to be heard, and that there's a long chain of command to go through. And still, she's listening to me. That's not listening, Deirdre. That is not listening. That says, she's much less receptive when I broach the subject of cybernetics. It's what underpins the entire project, and Angie doesn't want to do away with it. She brushes off the side effects like we were discussing fringe series in the classroom. A part of me wonders how she didn't see this coming. How did she expect me to approve just because of a report I made years ago? Well, I can't, but I'm trying to be patient for the sake of an old friend. They're not even mentioning the other problems. That's not even mentioning the other problems. The children sleep in a beehive with a central guard peering into their rooms. The games, books, and shows they have access are wildly limited. I've seen more than one trainee space out while looking at their lab script lunch. I'm sure all of this is making staff miserable too. The guards eat their meals in the cafe. The teachers' curriculums are stringent, and it's a wonder these researchers can see their keyboards in front of them when they're working so hard to avert their eyes. If STOP wants its own boarding program division or GROTC program, more power to them, but leave cybernetics out of it. Thank goodness I'm not late for these trainees. I dread the moment any of them turn of age. D. Deirdre, did you leave anything out from your talks with Dr. Tan? From what I've read, she's barely said a single honest word. Didn't we have this discussion before? Angie's an old friend, a good colleague, a brilliant scientist. She isn't some fool or zealot. I can get her on my side is essential that I do. I mean, again, if you don't want to see it, you're not going to, right? It's all the same. She does make some points. If we rebuild the YTDI from the inside out, it could be a net positive for children everywhere. Are you and I even on the same page anymore? This whole program's rotten. It's not worth saving, let alone any organization that'll greenlight it. If they got rid of the cybernetics, I'm confident that STOP could make the YTDI into a competent institution. Competent institution? Don't feed kids lab script. I'm not going to burn down everything for a better future. It's not incompatible with what you want. Think, Deirdre. STOP is a security organization, not a charity. They offer peace of mind for sale. Why would they be enhancing children except for their own benefit? Look, I'm trying my best here, but consider this. If the program was shut down tomorrow, what would happen to those children? Who else has the resources in the world to take them all in? It wasn't out of the good of STOP's heart, I can tell you that much. Don't be so conspiratorial. Don't be so blind. If Dr. Tan is dragging this performance based on your research, I know, then speak up. August 27th, 2070X. Alright, so that's it for today's episode of protoViolence. This game is around 1 to 2 hours long per the itch page, so I'll probably be done in the next episode. Things are going to get worse next. We know what happens we know what happens in protoViolence. Not protoViolence. We know what happens in Malviolence, or what is at least referred to. Things are only going to get worse. Haha. But either way, currently I'm liking this game. I like the writing. It is a different kind of game from Malviolence, because Malviolence was more like a puzzle game. And this one is more narrative focused. And I'm currently really liking it so far. I think I like being in the perspective of Deirdre, of someone going through this. I mean, like, she obviously, again, she does clearly recognize you can't change something from the inside, not something like this. It's not possible. They're not going to listen. Nobody wants to listen. And I mean, we already know how that turns out, right? So, and like, Iris is right, like, there's cybersecurity. They're not a charity. Corporations don't care about other people, they care about their bottom line. Tis simply true. So, alrighty. So, I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys have a great one. Bye!